we mentioned about AkaBot previous to this meeting, and I'm sharing with you the components of this platform. So this is an RPA platform created by FPT, and we are proud to be using this for many projects as of now. And the way this product was, built is that it has three components. Now, we have the AkaBot Studio, which is the one that we are focusing on today. The studio is the designing tool. It's a drag and drop concept, and we can add activities to form our logic to represent the process that we try to automate. And we also have the other components, the center and the agent. The center is like an orchestrating tool used to manage, to control, and to schedule the agents, while the agent is it's basically the robots, the running instance that executes the script that was created by the studio. So these are the three components of our product, and yeah, forming together this RPA platform. So I will give you guys a glimpse into our AkaBot Studio. Now this is the user interface of the studio. If you guys have to, happen to familiar with, other platforms, especially UiPath, then this user interface will be kind of familiar to you, as it's based on the same, .NET and Windows Workflow Foundation, the same library of Windows, in order to create this studio. So it's basically this user interface where we can see as 5 areas. We have this menu areas where we can create a new project, start or stop a process, and especially we have this one to the left here, which is called a toolbox, or we call it as the activity panel. Now this activity panel is this consists of multiple what we call as activity. An activity represents front action, and there are a lot of pre-built ready-made actions that we can use. So we have activities or actions for maybe browser. For example, we can have actions that can open a browser for you and then navigate to different screens of the browser, performing the click actions, the typing actions, and maybe getting the text out of the web browser, for example. Similarly, we have the same pack of activities for desktop applications, and then we have for emails, and we also have for Excel's database, API, logic operators, so on and so forth. In the middle part of this user interface, you will see this big area where we call it as the designing area. It's basically you just drag and drop your activity inside this designing area to form your logic, just like that. And the third area of this studio is the properties panel, which is located on the right hand side of the screen. For example, if I were to select an open browser activity and drag it in the middle part of this designing area to the right hand side, we will see the properties that is available for this action, the open browser action. Now property is where we can define the details of what we can do. For example, if I wanted to open which website, I will put the URL into this property, like that, google.com, or if I were to select to maximize the browser if it is open or not, for example. And then now this is a designing tool or a scripting tool. So having variable is a must. So this also equipped developers with variables. Now we can declare variables here in the variables panel, and this platform supports multiple variable type. Basically, all .NET variable type are available within this platform. We have like basic, number, string, text, boolean, array variable types, and also some other, advanced and more, you know, uh, different types of variables here. You can explore in details here. Basically, any .NET type variable are supported. So yeah, that's to show you like a quick overview on this platform. Before I jump into some some live demonstration or some videos, are there any questions you wanted to address?
So we have the click event, and then so those are all the special event. I mean, all the events are there. So for example, so if you are going to the web page, and then there is a drop down list, so which if you want to be select a value, so within the browser, so we can have any attribute to select the drop down value.
The drop down value, right?
Yeah.
I will navigate to the browser
Okay.
and see. There's a select item, which
Okay.
is designed for drop down.
Okay, so once you have the select item, for example, so the drop-down list has a states, so in the United States, they have the 51 states. And next time when the bot runs, so if you wanted to be, set to the default state, so obviously we may need to be do some expression, right? The expression need to be done in a scripting language, or it need to be done only in the VB script.
Yeah, I'll show you like the sample code that I created earlier. It is
Yeah.
for Windows application, but it's the same concept. Hold on. Oops. I think I might have opened the wrong project. So yeah, back to your question. It's I'll still open it. Um, when we perform the select item, we can put our variables to make it dynamic, the values that we wanted to select. It goes to show that uh, must have been a wrong project. I will just demonstrate it here. So we have this select item activity,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see on the properties the item value that we wanted to select. It is on this box, and we can either put it like a fixed value, like
Mm-hmm.
for example, state can be like
California.
CA for California,
Mm-hmm.
or we can put a variable here.
Okay.
And yeah, the variable we can define it here, and that's how we make it dynamic.
Okay.
So why don't you demonstrate creating a simple bot so that Venkat can see from start to finish?
Absolutely. Okay. I will create a new project, a blank one. Demo new.
And what do you intend this bot?
Yes, so I will do a sample script that opens an application and fill in the form, select some boxes into that application.
Mm-hmm.
If I have time, I can demonstrate a part of where it reads Excel and fill it into the application. But let's go with the juicy part first, so that we can have some visualization. Now, open window, because I wanted to open an application. I drag and drop an open window activity. I will take a sample application, this one here. Okay. So if I wanted to tell the robot which application to open, from the open window activity, I click on indicate window on screen. It's basically I select the selector, or in other words, I tell the robot which application I want to interact. Now I hover my mouse, and if I see a red square that is highlighted, this applications, which means I'm good, I will click OK to confirm. And I mean, behind the curtains, you will see some of this, we will call it as selectors. It's basically the path and all the information that the robot understands that, hey, this is the application that the robot knows to work with. I click on OK to confirm, and I can verify it. So I close this one manually, and now I will click Start to execute the process. If I hit on Start, you see this application is being opened. All right. And the next thing is, for example, if I wanted to, type some values into this first name field, what I would do is I would drag and drop for the activity called type into. There are a lot of type into that serves for different application, whether it is a Java-based application, browser, Internet Explorer, or Windows. So I would select Windows here, and I will tell the robot which field I want to type, just the same as how I open an application. I click on Pick Target Element, and then hover my mouse to the area I wanted to work with. This time, the first name field. Click on that. Don't care about the selector. Hit on OK to confirm. Okay. And now I will put my values into that area. I will put my name in as Fran. Some other options I can use, like maybe click before typing, or empty the field, set focus, for example. But things this looks pretty enough for me. I can maybe add another action, that is type into the last name. Similarly, do exactly the same, but this time maybe I will type a variable here. By creating I create a variable here. I create as variable 1, type a string. My default value is 10, and then I will type this time my variable name. So that's it. I will close this application and run the process with an expectation that it will open that application and type my name into the first and the last name field. Okay, let's go about and try it. And you can see the first and the last name has been changed. Now, similarly, we have click activities, where we can click on different tabs. Click, and I hit on this company tab as the tab I wanted to click. Okay, and maybe in this screen we have this select box over here. The state. Oh, exactly the one I'm trying to do. Now I will search for the select item action for Windows to do this. So I drag and drop it here. I tell the robot which field is the field for the Dropbox by hovering my mouse to click on OK. And then from the item value, let's say if I wanted to select okay, LA, for example, I put LA inside a double quotation as a fixed value, or it can be a variable. Click OK to confirm, and that should be it. I close this application and try to do it again, run it again. Start to run, and let's see. There you go. It typed the first name, last name, click on the company tab, and change the state to LA. Feel free to raise any questions if you have any during my demonstration. Okay, so I will continue. So this is like for Windows application type.
Yeah.
Now the same thing applies for web. If I want to indicate on something on the web, I will do exactly the same thing, like clicking or something like that. By selecting the click activity, and you can see, some red highlighted area, which is, to show that the robot is capable of reading this, or indicating this website. Same thing applies for other websites. Just the same concept. Select your proper activity, and select the element. Now there are also, during development, Excel automation is like, a must in our projects, and we have here like 15 or 20 activities supporting Excel that are already made. I will demonstrate you very quickly, the other part of this process where the robot can pick up information from an Excel application and put it inside this sample CRM system to make it more reasonable. Okay, I can drag and drop an activity called Excel application scope. And let's find an Excel file. There we go. Okay. Desktop automation. There we go. Okay, let's see. Now this is the file I wanted to use as the input data. I will quickly read this information and fill in to the app. Now, in order to read a file, I need to tell the robot which file I wanted to interact with. Very simple. I use an Excel application scope activity and click on this button to select the file. Now this is it. My file is onboarding.xlsx, and I wanted to read this whole sheet the way I do it is I use an activity called Excel read range, right? We can read by cell, or we can read by the whole range or the whole sheet. Same thing applies if you do for writing, etc. So I wanted to read the sheet, and my sheet is people here. So I'll put here as people, and I wanted to read the whole sheet. I can leave this. This is the range. I can leave it as blank, so that the robot understands I want to read the whole thing. For example, if I want to read like some certain areas, I can put like A1 to D9 as the range I specified as the reading area. But in this case, the whole screen is good for me. I put it as blank. Now we've been doing like development or some certain knowledge of that. Then yeah, we have variable here. So the output of reading this table is that the robot will store that information inside a variable. Now there's a variable type, which is the type of data table, to use inside AkaBot to store that variable, that kind of data type, data structured information. It's basically .NET VB.NET variable type. So this one is the same type. So I can quickly create a variable here using a shortcut, maybe Control K, and then name it as Excel data as my variable. Now I also click on add headers, the properties, because this table has a header. I wanted to tell that the information I read, the second row is actually the raw information, whereas the first one is only the headers. I tell the robot by click on this add headers property. So this part is good to show that I open an Excel file and read the information. Now maybe how do I fill in this information into this application? Now I still open an application, but as I'm using that variable, I can use like a loop. You can imagine like there are multiple rows like this, like 20, 70, 100, thousands of rows like this. Let's say if I needed to go through different each of the row and fill in the information, how do I go about and do that? And there's in AkaBot, it supports for logic actions like looping, doing if else, while, and do while, for example, breaking, or just like any normal logic you would do in any scripting or programming languages. I will try to loop through the Excel variable, and after each loop I may wanted to enter some information for each row. So my idea is that I will open the application, and inside the application I will loop through my data. Now I will type into this again, this first name, click on OK, and well, instead of using a fixed value like this one, I will use a variable, and a variable that is looping through the Excel data that I read earlier. So I can use an expression like this, like row 0 is to tell that the column. So 0 is basically this column, like the first name. If I were to put it as 1 is the last name, gender, address line going up. Let's see how it goes. Close the application and run. Well, you can see it has changed the first name to Daniel, Dane, and it is exactly this value that was, displayed in the Excel file. So that is to show you real quick how I can read information from Excel file and load it into the application. And the same thing I can do for different or other fields. Any questions maybe from your end?
We are good so far.
Right, thanks. Now this is actually the full flow that I created earlier for that application. I'll click on start to run. Oops, I need to close the Excel file first and then click on start. Now you can see this time it goes to more fields than just the first name and the last name. Yeah, all the fields defined and information are basically populated from the Excel file. Clicking, typing, select boxes, and yeah. Right, so that's the demonstration of the first project. I can show you another demonstration for maybe web related.
Tin,
I'm here.
do you have a function for being able to generate an email?
Absolutely. So talking about emails, so I will find.
While he's doing that, Venkat, I was just thinking about one of the examples that, or one of the situations that Alonso mentioned. You could see how there's a variety of different ways that you could create a list, but if you had some sort of list of reports that people wanted generated on each morning, right? That list input could be easily absorbed by a bot, log into a unique account, generate the reports, and then email the output or put them into a secure location for each recipient based on what they requested.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So talking about email, right? In a technical perspective, there are a lot of email like protocol with Outlook, Exchange, IMAP, SMTP, all sort of protocols. But the most commonly used, I think, is Outlook. It's basically this send Outlook email is how we can send an email to a recipient. We put the email addresses, the subject, the body, and we can also attach files. May it be sending a report on a daily basis every morning before you start the day. We can have the robot to do that for our people.
But you're also seeing how, because of the way they've designed this, one, all of the access can flow through your normal security protocols and procedures, right? So if you're logging into an application, you're logging into an account, etc., all these can go through the normal authorization processes. And then you're all how, because they've got the access to be able to go through and interact with whether it be a application or a browser, etc., you're not having to change those systems. So this thing rides on top of all of your existing stuff without change.
Yes, right. It's you saw the way I created a sample project. It's very intuitive and simple to use, and also the same way if you were to maintain your projects. All right. I mean, the nature of RPA is that it depends on the user interface layer, and if the user interface layer changes, then we have to change our script as well. And the way we change our script is exactly what I did earlier. I just hover my mouse and select the new area. It's not really, deep dive into technical side, as this platform already supports you with the, indication and inspection already. So very handy, I would say. I have here like a, sorry, yep, go ahead.
Go, please finish, Chen. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have here like a project which do the process of data scraping. It scrapes information from of a product from multiple websites to get the price and its information. It's basically a market research kind of thing, or like a competitor's price collection. I created this project to you know for one of our client actually, um, to get the price of a product, and go through different e-commerce website and get that information. Okay, I will run this process, and in the meantime we can discuss. So I'll click on start to run, and let's see how it goes. And the first thing is run at the background is that it reads an Excel file, and that Excel file contains a list of like the product I needed to get the information. That is the input. And now here's the action part. The robot opens the browser, and it opens like different websites. And
Chen, we cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Tim, we cannot hear you.
He got disconnected briefly. Chen, are you back?
yeah, oh my God. You know what just happened? Because during my script, like after each website, I add an activity to, close the Chrome browser to make it, refresh. And turns out that I'm joining this meeting through a Chrome, browser. So that's why I got, disconnected.
So you refreshed yourself.
Yeah. That's the thing about RPA. It controls my machine. So, um, yeah, but I hope that you were able to see that part where it opens an website and get the data, right? Um, because I put a lot of Chrome like termination in my process a lot, and I did not expect that I would be joining to this method. You know what? Let me share my screen again. Um, David, can you give me like permission
Hang on
or
a second. Just a moment.
thank you.
There you go, Chen.
Thank you. as you can see here, there's a terminate process, right? I terminate Google Chrome here, and there are some other parts. I also add this one, but I mean, just to show you the demo, you know, you see the robot also sent me an email actually, because it says there's an error happened during my project, and it also sent a screenshot. Well, this moment I stopped the robot, as because I was out of the meeting. I stopped it and make sure I wanted to join again, but the robot was able to get the error and send me a screenshot. So that is a bit on how we design the robot and operate it on a technical point of view. But let's see the output and that I ran earlier. Well, you can see here, this is actually the output. There's one product. This is the product number. Its description is like I don't know, a bar fridge, and the result is that it goes through these websites. It's basically e-commerce or seller reseller providers in Singapore, that it gets this information and put the listed price, the discounted price into this report. Some some website, it does not contain this product and will be listed as not available. At the end of this process, if it were to run successfully, it will also send an email, attach this file to the recipients to notify that this process has been completed with this information uh, scraped out of the websites.
Now, Tran, I know that FPT has its own developed AI system, as well as there's a number of different best of breed market alternatives out there. Without going into a great level of detail, could you just demonstrate to Venkat how you would integrate AI into this?
Right. Yeah. Sure thing. I will pull up my other project. Okay, so the most basic concept of integrating AI into any programming or scripting project is that the keyword is API integration. Now, in order to do that, this AkaBot supports for AI integration or API consuming. With this HTTP client activity, we can make API calls, right? Let's say our AI platform, OCR platform, they will always have like API exposed, and the concept is that from AKBot we will calling that API or consuming that API from that AI platform, and then receive the output that was returned by that API. That is the concept of how we do integration with other platforms, especially artificial intelligence. This is the activity that I'm going to use, but to show you the action that is available for integration, I will show you the video of how actually we did a demonstration and put together a combination of OCR and AI based OCR and RPA together to form an automation of a project. Now, this process that I'm going to demonstrate is it's called purchase requisition. I hope you can see the video.
Yes.
So this process, it's basically the input is in the form of a PDF document. PDF is basically an image, and what we need to do is to read the information or to extract the information from this document. You can see it is an invoice-based document, and yeah, it runs real quick. But this is the invoice. It contains different information, and please be noted that there's not only one template, but actually there are multiple available. And in order to resolve that kind of situation, the way we did this demonstration is that we call to another OCR platform, which is FPT based OCR, to extract this information throughout different PDF templates, and the RPA, the AkaBot, will get that information from the OCR. This integration runs in the background, which is not really visible for you to see, but that's the concept. It's basically the RPA open PDF and send that PDF to the OCR platform. The OCR platform returns with a text, and then you can see from this part, the RPA collect that text and open SAP and then insert the data into this SAP application. It retrieved the the invoice information, like the price, the description, the product name, for example, and then insert that information into this one. It created a purchase on SAP, and then navigate to different screens to input other data. Yeah, at the end of this process, it also closes SAP and then send an email notification to the recipient that a new request has been created. So yeah, that's to show you like the AI integration. So the concept is to consume API from AkaBot, calling API from to the AI platform, and yeah, and a video to showcase how we did it.
And you could just as easily use a third-party application if a customer preferred that, right?
Absolutely.
So
It is
Venkat,
not limited to only our platform. Sorry, yeah.
no, thank you very much. So Venkat, hopefully that gives you a good feel of how the studio works to create bots, how it can interact with packages like Excel, Microsoft, etc., how it can interact with API interfaces to third-party industry best practice products, and in general do the types of things that you would expect a bot to do. What questions can we answer for you at this point?
So for example, so this scenario here, so he read the Excel file and then populate all the values to this, his Windows application. Okay. So assume, so we have the Excel file is coming from some source, early morning, so probably 3 a.m. every day.
Yep.
And we wanted to be, so read the file and populate all the values into the, Windows application, and then, so store into the, the Windows application. So if that need to be happen, before somebody comes into the work. So the scenarios here, the FTP somewhere the file is automatically creates at 3 a.m. and then maybe so we can do something to read the file at 3:30, and then so insert the values into the application. So in those scenarios, how we can do. So the project once we create, so can we create some file and then create, so create a batch file and then put it into the schedule to run that batch file, so at 3:30 to do the whole process.
Well, why
Absolutely.
would you wait? Why would you wait until only 3:30? Why wouldn't you just have a bot running to see whenever there was a file out there making a request?
Yeah, that's also an option. I mean, the reason I put a 30 minutes gap was, so in case, the file is still in writing. So Yeah, either way is fine actually. So even so even that scenario also works. So the
Right.
bottom line here was how we can automate this, the bot. So right now the demo which I see was, so yes, you have the studio, so you are creating everything and then you're clicking the run button to do the whole process. So rather than in a manual interaction, so how we can automate, so by running the batch file or something.
Right. So that's very easily handled from a scheduling perspective, or depending on the process, it can be constantly looking for work to actually process. So it can be handled from either direction. If there's a specific reason that it has to wait until a specific scheduled time, then there is a scheduler that can kick these off, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do is you can start to get more sophisticated into the bot to look and say, is the system available for me to start working on it? So I may recognize that there is a request out there, but the application is locked because it's doing some sort of maintenance work. I can check the status of the application, see that's not available, and go back into a hibernate state, knowing that I've got work pending. Check again for the application's availability. Once I see that's up and running, then I can go ahead and start taking it as input those outstanding requests and get it going as soon as it's ready. So again,
Yeah,
you can do it from a number of different perspectives.
I agree.
Right. In
Let's
terms of technical, you can do like a batch scheduling. I do it sometimes, or like the most like native way is to this application also supports for another dedicated scheduling app. So that's how you can do scheduling from a technical perspective.
Okay.
Now, the nice thing is, because this is delivered as a managed service, you're getting all of the experience set across business processes across multiple industry segments, right? So it's not limited to only one specific business process in one industry experience. So there's a lot of learning, a lot of avoidance of mistakes, a lot of experience in understanding how to get around certain scenarios. You talked about, or Alonzo talked about, some of the issues that are very sensitive to your business with regards to security, right? And these are things that the Aka team has a lot of experience with. So when they help create these bots, they can take all that experience into consideration to easily create the bots that you need. And then these are all maintained for you, and then all of the monitoring and reporting is all done as a service.
Sounds good.
So we had talked a little bit about the process the last time in terms of saying, if you find this appealing, then what we could do is to talk about doing a proof of value scenario. We had talked about identifying maybe two prospective business processes as models, talking through those pros and cons, and then mutually choosing one, moving forward with that. And what we would do then is, based on which one we chose collectively, to send you a set of questions to allow us to analyze that and to give you back a projection of what the business value would be. And this really starts the iterative process, so you understand how everything works from start to finish, in terms of saying, okay, when we make a effort to justify building a bot, how do you know that you're going to get value out of it? Then make your business decision to invest in moving forward with it. And then, of course, measure and see that you did receive at least that amount of value, if not greater.
Yeah.
So what else can we answer for you? I want to be very sensitive to the time. I know we're standing between you and dinner and maybe a beer. I'm not sure what you like to relax with. Maybe you're a wine person. I'm not sure. But I know we're standing between you and whatever tonight.
Yeah, so this is a so good so start so yeah, thank you for the time so explaining the details. So some of the stuff so I feel like so it's the good thing is it's a little bit of similarity with the UI path. So yeah, but as compared to the UI path, it has looks like it is more powerful than the UI path.
And don't forget, faster and cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're ready to work with you in doing a proof of value when you're ready to make that step.
Okay.
Just let us know what you're thinking about. Well, and like I said, I think the smart approach is to talk about prospectively 2 business processes. Let's both agree on one, and then let's act on it.
Okay. Yeah, so let me work through the team, and then I will come up with something, and then so based on that so we can move forward.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Venkat, thank you again for giving us this time.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Tran, Katie, David, Ayaz, thank you all very much for getting up so early.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Jeff. Thanks, team.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. Bye.